Okay, let's go ahead and talk about faxes. Now, how do you get people's fax numbers? That is very important to have. It's always great to have faxes because these are some of my favorite ways on following up with current clients and people that we've already visited for an appointment, for that initial cold appointment or the cold walk-in, or where we actually was able to do a quick presentation for them, to be able to have an elevator pitch, to be able to, go to the next level. So when I talk about in other videos, when we talk about the 12-point follow-up basic system, you must be able to have faxes included in that follow-up system. But before we start faxing, let's talk about some of the laws and regulations that are out there. I want you guys to be aware that just because you have their fax number, that does not mean that you start sending them faxes. There are federal laws which prohibits blitz faxing when you're faxing to people who you do not have permission to fax them. So for you to fax a company, they must first give you a verbal okay to actually fax them something, or they literally said, or emailed you something where they say something about fax them something. When you make a phone call, ask them, is it possible for me to send you a fax? There are times where you actually call someone to try to set up the appointment or to tell them about your products, about your company, and they will tell you, you know what, can you just go ahead and fax us some information about your company? Now, when we talk about closing techniques, there's going to be what they call the leave your brochure technique, or just send me a fax technique. It's also called the copier close. When you're making that quick introduction, it's okay. You're just trying to get that phone call. You need to be able to learn how to go past those. But if it gets to the point where they literally are just saying fax me, fax me, fax me, go ahead and fax them a letter. Go ahead and fax them information about your company or those educational based marketing materials. But when you do that, always send it a second time, the just in case fax. You can send that to them the following day, where let's say, for example, you spoke to Debbie and Debbie says, just fax it to me. Just send them a second fax. Debbie, just in case, just wanted to refax it to you again, just to make sure that you actually received it. Here's the information that I wanted to share with you. Make sure that your fax cover sheet has what we call an opt-out page or an opt-out language in it. And so you guys can actually look for sampled opt-out language to be able to be put in your front of your faxes, okay? So make sure you guys have that. Now, like I said, great for follow-up, never really good to get appointments. You're not going to be able to get that. But once again, to break past obscurity, for the people to actually know who you are, faxes are another good choice to be able to use that and take advantage of.